Hello and welcome back to AGB Art. In today's video, I'm going to show you step by step how to make this stunning Dutch pour painting. If you enjoy the video, please press the thumbs up, feel free to leave me a comment, and subscribe to my channel. We're starting out with a wrapped canvas, which is basically a piece of fabric that is stapled tightly to a wooden frame. You can buy these canvases at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Joann's, and you definitely can get them online. I'm going to be working today with this large canvas, and I've already gone ahead and taped part of it. I like to tape it just to keep the back of it clean. You don't have to do anything to the front of the canvas. You don't need to gesso, and you don't need to prime it with anything. It is already primed and ready to go. And you'll see when I flip it up that accidentally I put it in a little bit of blue paint on my black table there. But that won't matter because my base paint is going to cover up the blue. Now I'm going to take jumbo push pins and I'm going to push them in the corners of the back of this canvas. The purpose of this is to get the canvas up off of the table. I bought these push pins on Amazon, and I think that container of 24 pins was maybe $7. Once you've taped and put your push pins in, you can use a small level to make sure that your canvas is level. I'm using these large red Solo cups for my base paint, and I prefer to use tongue depressors for stirring. I tend to mix a lot of base paint, and today's paint is a Lowe's hardware brand, Valspar Ultra White in a satin finish. This is for interior walls. It is latex paint, and you can buy that can pre-mixed. I'm mixing it with American Flood Floetrol. Now you want to make sure that lid is on real tight and then give it a super good shake. Some people will strain the Floetrol just to get any lumps out. And then you want to have water handy for mixing to get consistency. And we'll talk about consistency very shortly. I really love having a super simple recipe. So my recipe is 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol. Super simple. Because we're going to be mixing some colors, I decided I'll show you my food scale and how I measure. So this is a basic food scale that I got on Amazon. And when you push the tare button, it goes back to 0. I take one of these cups and I put it on the food scale, and then I push the tare button again to 0 it out. Today we're going to be mixing Amsterdam Oxide Black Paint. I love Amsterdam paints, and unfortunately for me, the only place I can get them is online. I'm putting 12 milliliters into the cup. Now, I don't like to do math very much, but this is my 1 part paint. So my 2 parts Floetrol will be 24. Now, if you don't want to do the math, what you just need to know in your head is the number you need to get after all the Floetrol is in is 36. And you will see that unfortunately I go over. But that's okay, because I just grab another cup and pour a little bit of the Floetrol out of that first cup. And when I put it back down, it's about 34 or 35. Now, being off 1 milliliter is not going to make a huge difference. What I really like about tube paint and Floetrol is that the color tends to stay true. You notice that Floetrol is white. It has not turned this black to gray. Why is that? Because it's quality paint. If you did this with craft paint, you'd have gray. But this is Amsterdam paint, and it's good quality. My other color today is Deco Art Gold. Now, I'll be honest with you. This gold has been a challenge for me. You can see there's barely any left. I don't put Floetrol in it. I only put a little bit of water in there. That's so that it maintains that shiny gold shimmer look to it. I chose to mix this in the container because there's barely any paint. Now, a lot of people will mix their paints the night before and let them sit in order for the air bubbles to dissolve. But me, I mix those colors and I want to put them on a canvas. So everything gets a really good stir. Now, the one thing I didn't do yet, I would normally have done this before, is I take a permanent marker and I write today's date on the blue painter's tape. Why do I do that? Well, because most paintings have to cure for 3 weeks. And I don't want to have to keep testing to see if the paint is dry. This way I know that I'm not going to touch this painting for sealing or varnishing until November 25th. No, normally I don't do all the math on the painter's tape. This was a teaching video, so I would just have 11:4 on it. Now what I'm doing next is a card test. I don't use a card though, I use a cardboard plate. I put a small puddle of each color that I'm going to use on the canvas on the plate. Now, if you remember, I said you could add water. This is where you make the decision as to whether or not you're going to add water. Because once you get all the puddles on the plate and you tilt the plate, if one of them drips too slowly, you know that it needs water. This shows you that you have all the same consistency in your paint. And you'll see as I tilt this plate, all of mine drip at almost the same rate. So I didn't add any water to these paints. Now you remember at the beginning of the video when I had the canvas face down, there was a little bit of blue paint. That's what's on the canvas. But it's okay because my white base paint is going to cover it. And what I do is I pour a square towards the edge of the canvas, a little bit in the middle, and then I will take my blow dryer. It's basically a hair dryer with a diffuser tip. I've got it on the cool setting and it's on low, and I'm making sure the white paint covers all of the edges of the canvas. I want the paint to drip off. And once I've got all of the corners and the edges covered, I'll come back to the middle and continue spreading the base paint. Now, some people will use a spatula or they'll pick up the painting, pick up the canvas and tilt it to spread. It doesn't really matter what you use. I've just found it's really easy to use the blow dryer. Once the top of the canvas is completely covered, I take my butane torch and I lightly go over the entire canvas to make sure that all the air bubbles are popped. I'll use my finger to go around the edges and to fill in any areas that I didn't cover with the base paint. Now I start layering the colors. And as I do 1 or 2 colors, I take my butane torch and make sure I pop air bubbles. For some reason, that gold always has a lot of air bubbles. And then instead of having mixed up a white paint, I'm just using the base paint as white. It's really important to pop the air bubbles. You don't want them to dry because ultimately they pop and they create craters in your painting. Now I'm sort of considering where I want more color. There's 2 different theories with Dutch pouring. Should you do a little bit of the background and blow it over the colors, or just leave them alone. So I've decided to do a little bit of the base and blow a little bit over the colors. The reason why I don't do it all the time is sometimes it mutes the colors. So I'm just taking my blow dryer and covering just a little bit, and then I'll take the torch again, and now we're ready to blow out. And immediately, what do I see but some gorgeous cells in the black. I really like the minimalistic design, but I'm not really thrilled that the gold basically got swallowed. I lean over and blow with my mouth just to see if I can pull up any more of the black. But I'm already telling myself, don't do too much to this painting. I'm using the blowtorch again to pull up any cells that might come out. And now I'm just going to add some gold, into it. I just need some shimmer in there. And I won't blow that out. I'm just going to leave it. I've got a mantra in my head saying, leave it alone, leave it alone. But I have noticed where I leaned over to blow, I took some of the white paint up. So there I'm using the cup and just covering it up again. I use the blow dryer again just to smooth it off. But that, my friends, is the finished product. And here you are down at table level. Look at the cells. That is just Amsterdam paint and American Floetrol. I'm amazed. I absolutely love it. I hope that you love it too, and you'll give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. When you do that thumbs up, it helps YouTube and it helps my channel an awful lot. And I greatly appreciate your time today. Thanks for watching.